2024 ended up being a pretty good year for us. We kicked it off at the end of December by heading out to the desert in Anza Borrego and found an incredibly remote camping spot to ring in the new year. It's a beautiful drive getting out there. It was absolutely gorgeous. The weather was interesting for us because we were out there for 5 days and 4 nights. We got a little bit of everything. We had some rain, we had some wind, but we also had a couple absolutely beautiful days while we were out there. Solitude was exceptional. We only saw a couple of people the entire 5 days we were out there. A couple of adventure riders came by on some BMWs, and a park ranger stopped by on our last day and commented that he doesn't see many people this far into the desert where we were. The night sky was absolutely amazing. It was really a good way to start 2024. We came back from that trip feeling very refreshed and ready to tackle a new year. And in February, only a month later, we had another opportunity to sneak out to the desert over a long weekend. This time we were excited to explore the southern region of Anza Borrego, which was an area we'd never really played in before. So we found a trail there that we took to its end, which was also very scenic and very remote. While we didn't have quite a long trip, this was a 3-day, 2-night trip. Again, complete solitude out there. We had one adventure bicyclist who rode out to us on the very last day we were there. And besides that, we really didn't see anybody while we were out there. Great hiking out there. It was really pretty. Again, very remote, but it was just nice to get away again, kind of get a break from the hustle and bustle of the modern world. In May, we linked up with our friends and hopped on our BMW GS Adventure and rode with them down into Baja. They know that area pretty well. Both he and his wife ride their own bikes. Michelle and I went down 2 up, but we went down to an area called Valle de Guadalupe, which we crossed from Tecate and headed down to, which is kind of the wine region of Baja. And it's really fun. Obviously a lot of dirt roads down there once you're off pavement. All the wineries are virtually on dirt roads. So a little anxious being 2 up on the motorcycle, but they were well-maintained dirt roads, so it was uneventful. But the restaurants were really neat. The wineries were really neat. The architecture was beautiful. Again, you find these things, 5 miles out of dirt road, completely isolated. The service was great. And the food was absolutely world class. We had a remarkable day. We didn't get back until like almost midnight. Also in May was a milestone birthday for me, so to celebrate my birthday, I bought a new mountain bike. I bought a e-bike, a pedal assist e-bike, Santa Cruz Heckler SL. And that gave me the opportunity to link up with my son, and we did some rides up in the Laguna Mountains together. He is also on a pedal assist e-bike. It was a great game changer because he and I could ride together despite our fitness and age difference. We managed to sneak in a little bouldering while we were out there too. So most of the summer I spent getting to know my new bike and riding around all the local trails between Rancho Penasquitos, Mission Trails, and some of the areas down where we live in the South Bay area. Really have a good time on that bike. It's a lot of fun. It's opened up so many doors for riding because there used to be trails I just wouldn't ride because I didn't want to have to do the climb, or if it was a steep descent to get to a trail, I was afraid have to pedal back up or walk back up a hill, which is largely eliminated now. So Michelle and I got a lot of rides in together as well, again on our local trails. She's not on an e-bike yet, but I think it's just a matter of time till she gets on as well. But we had a lot of fun riding. It was a great summer on 2 wheels. In August, our oldest son came down from Eureka to spend a week with us, and it was really great seeing him. Having him so far away, it's hard to get together. So having him in town for a week was really fun. We did a lot of the stuff we usually do, which is a family mountain bike ride and hanging out together. So both he and his younger brother are pretty good riders, so it's always fun trying to keep up with them. On their bad days, they're still pretty fast, but we had a lot of fun together, and it was great catching up, and I wish we could spend more time with him, and we weren't so far apart, but that is the way life goes. The end of August brought another big event for me. My good friend Sam had set up a trip for he and I to drive up to the Northern Sierra mountain range and do some exploring on dual sport motorcycles. he had mapped out a whole series of trails, mostly off-road, but all over that entire Sierra Mountain range, up to Bishop. I think we capped out at over 11,000 feet in elevation one day. The riding wasn't too technical. Some of the sand spots were a little tough for me. I'm not a real great sand rider, but Sam was very patient with me, and we had a lot of fun. We'd roll into towns and get lunches, and you know, it was just a great time to be out on two wheels. As I say, it kind of pushed my levels of expertise on a dual sport, but we really had a good time. We cut the trip a day short because weather was starting to come in and we could see snow blowing into the mountains, and riding around on snow wasn't my idea. Really have a good time. So we ended up leaving a day early, but still that was a lifetime worth of memories and just a gorgeous part of California. There's so much to see and do there. We didn't scratch the surface while we were out there. The scenery was incredible. Just the elevation changes, the terrain changes. I mean, there was a little bit of everything out there. So we really had a good time on that trip. In September, we took a vacation up to Prescott, Arizona to kind of look at that area as a potential retirement spot, and do a kind of deeper dive on it. So we took our bikes and really got to know the area and explore a little bit. And then since we were already in Prescott, we drove down to Tucson as well to see Michelle's dad and hang out in Tucson for a couple of days. So we had a nice relaxing vacation throughout that entire stretch, and really like Prescott. The elevation at almost 5,300 feet, it just makes for a very nice Four Seasons, and was just a gorgeous little town. So we're keeping an eye on that one. I volunteer with the San Diego Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Team, and one of the highlights of the year is the Miramar Air Show that comes in every October. SAR gets the opportunity to provide security and first response for the pilots of the air show on the east end of the air station. At the end of October, I again linked up with my friend Sam, and we decided to go back up into the northern Sierra Mountain range, but instead of motorcycles, we decided to take our 4x4s. So he has a very nice Toyota Tacoma, and I have my Gladiator, so we decided to have a little more creature comforts than we would on motorcycles and kind of continue to explore that area. So the Sierra Mountain range and the White Mountains on the eastern side of the 395 turned out to be a beautiful trip. Again, incredible elevation changes, cold temperatures. Our first morning was in the 20s. The trails were amazing. They were more remote and a little more technical than we were expecting. Sam did a map recon basically using Google Earth, and obviously what shows up in a satellite image and what is in real life are two very different things. But it was still a good trip. I think the most apprehension was we brought our mountain bikes, and the trail was really tight to have the mountain bikes up on top, and there were a few technical sections, so the bikes got scratched up pretty good. We got a lot of California pinstriping, and there were a few rock obstacles and some gatekeepers that we had to navigate. The biggest challenge was we just didn't know what was ahead because neither one of us had ever been on these trails. So most of the trails we were on, large sections of them, there was literally no place to turn around. So in the event the trail was completely washed out or eroded or wasn't accessible, we'd end up having to back out for miles at a stretch sometimes. But as it turned out, the loops that we had planned, that Sam had laid out, all worked out. We did manage to get through everything with a little bit of damage, but nonetheless we got through it. But in the end, it was certainly worth the trip. The experience was, again, hard to put into words, but absolutely amazing. We had a great time, really kind of pushing the equipment to its limits and testing each other a little bit too. But other than a few setbacks here and there, and as I said, some damage to the bicycles and some pinstriping, it was mostly an uneventful trip, and we certainly put it in the memory books as a great way to spend a long week. November found us heading back up to Prescott again, this time to link up with a friend of ours who lives up there and she was celebrating an early Thanksgiving party, so we went up there to join her for that. She also bought a Jeep, so we wanted to introduce her to the great world of overlanding and off-roading. So we found some trails near where she lives that were like literally right outside her back door basically, and kind of took her out and introduced her to the great world of four-wheeling and, you know, line choice and this, that, and the other. She's completely hooked on it now, and since this trip she has accessorized her Jeep and continues to do so, and we're looking forward to doing some kind of longer range trips and more. And this just kind of cemented to us how great the Prescott area is for those that kind of like a lifestyle where they are trails accessible. So they're just countless off-roading and mountain biking and motorcycle trails to explore out there. Absolutely beautiful country. So it was another great trip, and we continue to keep our eye on Prescott. Prescott even has a downhill mountain bike park. So we went out to explore that. There's no lifts or anything. You've got to pedal your way up to the top, but they did an absolutely brilliant job of making it a very easy climb. It's just a series of switchbacks that are gentle grade, and then it smooths out and it kind of continues that way. It's probably a 500 to 700 foot climb all in, but you know, Michelle, even on her acoustic bike, didn't really have any challenges with it. And then the trails are rated green, blue, and black diamonds, and the green were very forgiving. The blues weren't even too bad. We didn't experience any of the black diamond just because that really wasn't the nature of this trip. We were just trying to explore a little bit and have a good time. But they were fun, they were well groomed, they were well maintained. You could definitely have a good time out there, which we did. So mountain biking does not disappoint. Late fall in San Diego is just ideal motorcycle weather. So took advantage of the season to try and get out on both my KTM and my BMW as much as I could, either on just kind of weekend play rides just to get out around in the East County, or sometimes even just taking the motorcycles to commute on to and from work. Just any excuse to get out and ride while the weather was so ideal. Was the plan. So definitely got in a few miles throughout the fall, not as much as I'd like. It's hard to get out, obviously. It takes some planning, and everything the stars have to kind of line up, but just the fact to get out for a little bit still makes it worthwhile, and that was a lot of fun. And the last big trip for us for the year of 2024 was at the end of November, and we decided to take the trailer and head out to the Salton Sea area of Southern California, an area we had never been. This was pushing a little farther east than we normally go, past Anza Borrego State Park and a little deeper in, but we really didn't know what to expect on this. The Salton Sea's got kind of mixed reviews. There's a lot of negatives, obviously, with the area. It's pretty financially distressed, and the Salton Sea has had a whole lot of ecological mishaps, and it's just, you know, got kind of a bad reputation. But we found a hip camp where a person had some private property, and we decided that it wasn't too expensive. We'd give it a shot. If it was really bad, we could just pack up and leave. But as it turned out, it was absolutely beautiful. And a remarkable trip. We had a really good time, and actually regretted that we didn't have more time to spend out there. The sunsets were amazing. The weather was perfect. There was a lot to see and do and explore out in that region. In the Colorado desert, there was old military training sites available, the Bradshaw Trail for off-roading, but just the stillness, at least on the eastern side of the lake where we were, was absolutely beautiful. There was no odor. There was really nothing negative to it. So we would definitely go back out there and explore that area some more. It was a great trip and a good way to wrap up 2024. So that was kind of a summary of our adventures in total. That was our year. We're looking forward to 2025. And we hope that 2025 brings us more adventure as well as we get closer to retiring and maybe sort of transitioning in this kind of thing full time. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and we want to wish you a very happy new year, a happy 2025. May it be filled with much peace, many blessings. May you be surrounded by family and loved ones. Have a great year.